Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session for a client that was dealing with a lack of confidence that came from a breakup, but also the consequences of that breakup. And it led her to have a conflicted feeling about her place of work to the extent that she wasn't able to hold down a job in the same way that she was before the stress of the breakup and the circumstances around it. So what you're going to be hearing in this particular hypnosis session is an element of reframing, so regressing to the points where, knowing what she now knew, she would definitely make different decisions. And that's important because if you go back to these moments, there can be a feeling of shame and regret and frustration and an element of frustration that, why did I do that? And feeling like a victim in that. But if you look at the same moment in history, in your life, through the lens of knowing what I now know, what would I do differently, that then gives you evidence of taking wisdom and learning from that moment, which means it wasn't for nothing. You are wiser than the point at which that happened. So that's important. But she was also about to start a new job. So tapping into a moment in her career where she felt the most confident and the most competent was really important, because if you're going to start a new job, a new role, you don't want to be starting that with feelings of a lack of confidence, a lack of belief, or self-doubt. Instead, if you go into that same role with a feeling of inner belief, a conviction that actually you are resilient, you're confident, you could do this, that's going to bring out a very different energy. So if you are, let's say, someone that doesn't have the strongest boundaries, or maybe you're lacking an element of courage or strength or confidence, particularly, and I would emphasize this, particularly if you're an empath. Empaths typically are very caring, compassionate people, and because of that, they have this desire, almost like a moth to a flame, of fixing people that appear to be broken. And that can come with a lot of problems. So if you're an empath or if you're lacking confidence, I think you'll benefit from this session. But equally, if you want something more customized, there will be a link in the show notes that you can schedule a free consultation call with me. For now, though, find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just get a sense that stress, tension, and worries are leaving your body in your outward breath. As you breathe in and breathe out, allow your outward breath to slow down. And with that slow, long outward breath, give yourself permission to let go. Let go of emotions that you've been holding on to for a while now. Breathe in that resourceful feeling of relaxation, and then scan your body for feelings of guilt. And just allow that guilt to leave your body in the next outward breath. Breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. Scan your body for any feelings of shame. And allow that shame to leave your body in your outward breath. There's a fine line between regrets and wisdom. You can't change the past, but you can learn from it. And without regrets, there's no wisdom. So I want you to get a sense that you're breathing the resourceful state of wisdom in and accepting that knowing what you now know, you would do things differently in the past. But back in the past, you didn't know what you now know. Which means that you're wiser in the moment. And while you're wiser in the moment, the regrets have served their purpose to give you a sense of a better understanding of yourself, your choices, and who you are. So allow all those feelings of regret to leave your body and just hold on to the wisdom and the lessons that you've learned from them. And notice that as these things leave your body, you're able to feel even deeper relaxed. I want you to get a sense that sometimes people will wear their traumas, moments from their past, as a badge of honor, as a form of martyrship or victimhood, to gather sympathy or empathy from people around them. The problem is, holding on to those things that were bad increases the probability of history repeating itself, because you're tapping into an identity that isn't truly yours. You're not the victim, you're the survivor. You're not your regrets, you're your wisdom. You're not your pains, you're the resilience that came from those pains. I want you to get a sense that knowing what you now know, not only you would do things differently, but you would do things in a more resourceful, useful way. I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine a place in Mexico, a place that you've been to before a long time ago. And I want you to imagine that you're there, the moment where a younger version of you had just arrived. And there were things that happened in Mexico that created a chain reaction throughout your life. But there was a quality, or various qualities, that knowing what you now know would have been helpful for you back then. I want you to imagine that you from the future are about to meet the version of you from the past at a time when you were on your own, before events unfolded and things happened that would take your life down a particular trajectory. And if you can see yourself back then from the past at a time when you were alone, before things happened, just let me know by nodding your head. want you to have a conversation with yourself, just streaming your thoughts directly to them. Streaming memories that this individual hasn't even experienced yet. Stream the consciousness of everything that happened from this point all the way up to your present, directly in the mind of this version of you that doesn't know what will happen. I want you to get a sense that this version of you is treating you like a guardian angel, protecting them from a series of unfortunate events that could be avoided. Part of her doesn't want to believe it. Maybe part of her doesn't believe it. But she can see it. She can feel it. I want you to tell her exactly what happens when she's in Mexico, so that as she witnesses these things happening in the same order that you describe, she'll know that you're telling the truth. Forewarned is forearmed. And when you know better, you do better. But I want you to help her on her journey by giving her a resource. The resource of strength and courage. The ability to make decisions from a place of strength rather than empathy and sympathy. Imagine giving her that gift. And then I want you to imagine that you're following what happens next at that time. And see that now with this information and this resourceful version of you handles things differently. It might get to a certain point, but it doesn't go all the way like it did in your past. I want you to create a new timeline. Because creating a new timeline also changes your reality. Because it gives you evidence that you've taken wisdom from that moment. And therefore there is no guilt and shame and trauma. Because how can there be trauma if you've extracted so much value from that moment? And if you can see what happens next, and in this timeline things are so much better, just let me know by nodding your head. Perhaps when a decision is made that's the right decision, reconnect with her. Give her a hug, tell her you're proud of her, and tell her that that was exactly the right decision to make. Now it's time to leave this place. But I want you to follow your timeline, not their timeline, going forward in time before a court battle. Lawyers, judges, a conflict, evidence. But I want you to meet the version of you before everything started. And again, stream all the memories of what happened directly to that version of you, because forewarned is forearmed. Knowing what they now know, it's easy to make different choices. The lawyer to hire, the strategy to take, the way in which certain information is presented. And again, I want you to give that version of you the resources to handle this stressful period. Maybe that is inner strength, self-belief, resilience, strong boundaries. Give that version of you all of the things that they need to handle this chapter of your life in a more empowered way. And if you can see that happening, let me know by nodding your head. And then get a sense that, again, this is evidence that you are wiser from what you've been through. You're not broken. The strongest trees experience the fiercest storms. Therefore, your resilience, your strength, has never been higher. Feel a growing sense of courage, confidence, and that firmness and self-belief to stand up for yourself. And then observe on their timeline them really sticking up for themselves, defending their points. See that version of you do things the way that you would want to do things if you can go back in time and do it all again. And if you see it happening the way you would want it to happen, let me know by nodding your head. Now I want you to visit a different memory on your timeline. A time when you were flying high in your career. A time when you negotiated and closed a very significant deal. See that version of you celebrating that victorious achievement. See the smile on your face, the way you were dressed, and recognize the qualities in you that enabled that to happen. Your communication skills, the way in which you prepared, your problem-solving abilities, and accept the suggestion that you haven't lost any of that competency. You can't forget to read if you tried. You can't forget to write or to talk. These competencies are there, just as the competencies that you recognize in that version of you are also there. The only thing that changed is your confidence, not your competence. And if you recognize that if you had those qualities back then they still exist in you right now, let me know by nodding your head. And then step into that version of you where you're celebrating, feeling victorious, getting recognition, adulation, all those well dones. Feel how good it feels to know that this is you. This is the real you. This has to be the real you. And things that followed, they didn't change your competency. They just dented your confidence temporarily. So take this feeling of confidence that you have in this moment right now, feel where it is, expand it, grow it, tap into that feeling of confidence, and then travel forwards in time, and then witness a future version of you with that quality, that level of confidence, that level of self-belief, starting work in a new role. See yourself turning up for work, looking relaxed. See yourself looking confident, strong, positive. And because you're confident, strong, and positive, there's no need to play games and get into politics. I want you to see that version of you, and you have trust in that version of you. Trust that you have the competency to do the work, that you have the skills, the confidence to do what's required. But I also want you to see a version of you that feels that you can be successful in your career and be a good mother. See yourself not only doing well in the role, but returning home and perhaps having a conversation with your son, explaining what you do in a positive, enthusiastic way. See him observe you being enthusiastic, happy and excited, stimulated by your work, knowing that subconscious seeds are being planted in his mind, that you can work and enjoy it. You can be successful and have balance. And if you're witnessing yourself with the resources that you would want to have, let me know by nodding your head. And doesn't that mean that all the moments from the past have just prepared you to be wiser for this point in time right now? That had all of those things not happened, you wouldn't have the same wisdom, the same resilience, the same determination. What if you needed to have faced those challenges to be unbreakable, unflappable, more fiercely determined than at any other time in your life? The old chapters have closed. This is a new chapter. This is the version of you that stands up for yourself, that is strong and courageous. This is the chapter where you, as that lead character, are positive and not political. A sense of deep self-belief and a desire to get so good and be so valuable that you can do more with less, that it becomes not about the hours that you work, but the impact that you have. And if all parts of your subconscious mind accept that you are activating these resources, let me know by nodding your head. Step into that future version of you and imagine you've been there for 6 months, 12 months, or even several years. Almost like you're part of the furniture. You are trusted. People know that you know what to do. Connect with that feeling. Take all of those positive qualities, that sense of confidence, self-belief, inner conviction, and then take it all and return to the present, still feeling those emotions inside you. Ready to turn the page and start a new chapter. You and no one else are the author of your life. You make the decisions and you decide what happens next. And feel a sense of excitement and enthusiasm for this new chapter in your life. As you return to the present with all of those wonderful resources, take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Get a sense that you're back in your body, fully in the present, activating incredible resources, feeling an attitude of positive expectation and deep self-belief. As I count now from 1 to 10 to awaken you, you will awaken fully activating all the resources that you need most. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.